Time for Fowler's Facts. Let's bring in our statistician, the king of the calculator, Clinton Fowler. Here's the math that I'm interested in. Hunter Lawrence does it the same way every time. He's going 3-1, 3-1, 2-1, 3-1 to win these overalls. So give me some data. Show me how he's doing this in the identical fashion every weekend.
Absolutely, Weege. He's winning those second motos with starts. It's entirely his starts. It's amazing. If you look at his first motos, he's got starts averaging 10th. First lap, he's averaging 9th, and he's finishing 3rd. On the second motos, he's starting in 5th. He's around the first lap in 3rd, and he's won all 4 of them. So those starts in the second moto have just been on point. It's been his strength. In the one time where it wasn't, this past weekend, second moto, he's 12th on the start. He goes and he sets 5 of the 7 fastest laps in the race. So he just had the speed. So JT, for me, I look at this and it's like, how is it that he's showing up so well on the start in the second moto?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. And I think we should mention this weekend, he had a really good start in the first moto and got caught up in Joe Shimoda's crash. So it got skewed a little bit because he would have been top 5 in that first moto, and maybe the results are different because of that. But when I look at him coming off the track after the first moto, moments where he does, the camera's not on him, he thinks it's a quiet moment, and it is. He's very sure of himself. There's no panic after the first moto. There's no real sense of urgency, like, hey, we got to get this together. There's none of that. It is the picture of calm. I think he believes in himself. I think he has matured over the last year to 18 months. We saw a lot of evidence of that in Monster Energy Supercross this year. And most importantly, I think he believes he is the best guy. And usually, over a long enough period, the best guy is going to win out. So when he goes into those second motos, I think he believes in the law of averages and the best guy is going to show up and win the race. And for the last few weeks, that's exactly what's been happening.
Well, the law of averages should show that these other guys every week who go into the race thinking I'm fast enough to win, eventually it should work out for them. But the same way it keeps working for Hunter, it keeps not working for others who have the speed. And Clinton, I know you're thinking it's RJ Hampshire and Joe Shimoda. They led off the start of the very first moto of the year, and I'm thinking like it could be these two guys. And here we are after round 4, still hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, both those guys amazing on that first moto in Palo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's not been great for him since. RJ is averaging 14th on the starts all season. Joe Shimoda averaging 9th on the starts. So they're simply not putting themselves in the position to go battle. You can look at both of them in high point and you can see they both had struggles. To JT's point, they both had struggles in that second turn, first and second turn. So their averages on those starts just not there. JT, I just don't get it. Like, their factory riders are on factory equipment, and the consistency there, if they could get those starts, they could win, but they're not.
Yeah, and part of that is the depth in the 250 class. There are almost too many 250 factory riders. So all of these guys are lined up next to each other in a row, and it's just a battle amongst really strong motorcycles with a lot of talent on board, and someone's going to win out and someone's going to lose. And one of the things I've seen riders do in the past, Justin Cooper has done this over the course of his career, is if he looks at the lineup and he's like, man, I don't want to have to deal with all these elbows and handlebars exiting right off these gates, which in most cases determines whether you get a good start or a bad start. He'll just go off by himself and he'll start 10 gates away from that whole factory pack, and he'll trust himself and his process to get to the first turn first, or at least with that first group. So I think for Shimoda and Hampshire and Swole, it's been more of crashes in the first and second corner. But if you're a guy like Levi Kitchen, who's had a really tough time getting to that corner, that's what I would recommend. Go out, deal with inferior riders on inferior equipment, right? You have to believe in yourself that you can beat these privateer guys to the first corner. And you're going to avoid all of that factory equipment that we're talking about. You're going to have such a better chance at getting to the first turn with that first group if all of the group around you is on less equipment. That's just kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and it also keeps you out of trouble. Remember that huge wreck that both Shimoda and Hampshire were part of at Thunder Valley? That started from dudes bashing each other 5-10 riders away, and then they eventually got caught. They were close enough to still get caught in that, because it's always chaos, especially in the 250 class. I want to switch to 450s here, and you got some data here. Renaissance ride, at least for a lap, from Adam Cianciarulo. That was really fun to watch in Moto 2, battling for the lead. What did you see there, Clinton?
Yeah, the thing that triggered me to go take a peek at this is you heard AC on the podium. He said, I had a lot of pace in the beginning. That means more to me than the result. I'm still here. So I dove into that second moto. He had the lap times. He was on it. He had 2 of the 4 fastest laps in that entire second moto. He had 5 of the fastest 20 laps. Incredible speed. It's really the first time all year in a moto where I've seen his lap time show up there. So for me, Weege, it kind of feels like we saw a little bit of, say, the Adam Cincerulo from 2020 when he was battling with Zach Osborne for that title.
Yeah, or 21 when he won a moto at High Point. That was the last moto win that he had. But as awesome as that was, man, you showed me a chart earlier today. The management, and JT and I already talked about this on the show, the management of Jet Lawrence struggling in that moto, taking a few laps off to learn the bike and then turning it up. These are not normal ways to win motos. That was wild to see.
Yeah, I mean, he in the 11th lap, he set a lap time. You won't see it on most of the charts just because it's later in the race. But he had a few slow laps. It was clear that he was trying to find that setting, but then all of a sudden he just uncorked. In that one lap, it was a 2:36 when everybody else was really running 2:38s and 2:39s. It was a phenomenal lap, and it shows a little bit of his maturity. It also shows what we've talked about before, a little bit of that potential. So yeah, impressive second moto from Jet Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely, which leads to 8-0. That's easy math right there. Okay, that's it for Fowler's Facts. We'll get you back. Get ready for Redbud.
Thanks, Weege. Thanks, JT.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.